Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. My name is Jim Polcrano. On behalf of IMD, it's my pleasure to welcome you back to our campus. Ladies and gentlemen, IMD alumni, dear colleagues, MBA students, visitors, MT participants. I hope you're going to find this a very interesting conversation this evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear sport friends, good evening. My name is Claude Stricker. I'm the Executive Director of the International Academy of Sport Science and Technology, the AISTS. On behalf of our founding members, the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology, EPFL, the University of Lausanne, University of Geneva, IDEA, the Canton of Vaud, a big thank you to Atletissima, to Jackie de la Pierre, to Atletissima sponsor, the UBS and La Vaudoise, for making this special conference possible. And last but not least, a special very big thank to AIMD, also AISTS founding member, and a warm welcome to our participants and alumni of our AISTS Master Program in Sport Administration.
As many of you know, this will be the third time that we've had the privilege of having Usain Bolt on our campus and on this stage. In 2009 and 2010, we titled this event, The Art and Science of Coaching. Now my hope is, after what we've all witnessed in London, you understand why we changed the title to The Art and Science of Winning. Usain Bolt is here in Lausanne to win at Atletissima tomorrow night. He's here with us tonight to provide all of us, you and me, with some clues on how he does what he does. To help us understand that, to help us get the most out of this, we're expecting questions from you, but all through the evening it'll be facilitated by famous sportscaster Mark Murray and my IMD colleague, Professor John Weeks.
So together with IMD, AISTS, UBS and La Vaudoise, please enjoy this video provided to us by, last but not least, our founding member of the International Olympic Committee. And thank you to the International Olympic Committee that have just issued this fantastic clip and provided it to us for you to be among the first one to enjoy it. Yeah.
So Usain, on behalf of all of us here, I want to first thank you very much for spending this evening with us as our honored guest. And I want to start by asking the question that I know is on everybody's mind. So after London a couple of weeks ago, when you proved beyond a doubt that you are a sporting legend, after yesterday, which was your birthday, wouldn't you rather be enjoying Wouldn't you rather right now be enjoying the relaxation and celebration you've earned instead of running tomorrow and spending tonight with us?
Is that a trick question? Sounds like a trick question, like he's trying to set me up. But I would definitely like to really just enjoy my birthday, but it's like every year. I'm always in Europe, I'm always racing on my birthday, or even close to my birthday, so I'm kind of used to it, yeah.
Kind of used to Usain. We'll go back for these perfect, wonderful audience here today. We go back to maybe sometimes because they don't know you pretty well. They've heard a lot of things. So let's go back when you were in 2002, when you started with a major international competition. This is when you were 15 years old. 2061, this is incredible time that you were putting at that time. And then for the next 2 years, still improving. And then suddenly, injury came. Why am I asking this question? Is because injury is part of the high level discipline that you do sprint. How could you handle at that time? How could you cope with this injury that came in front of you, stopping you in your progression?
Well, it's probably one of the hardest moments of my career, really. When I started in 2002, I started out, I did well in front of my home crowd, which up to this day is still the greatest moment of my life because I did it in front of my home crowd. So that for me was extremely wonderful, and it was one of the happiest times of my life. It was really great for me. After that, I started improving, as you said, started running faster, ran the world junior record and everything, and I was doing well. And at the first Olympics, that's when it really started, the injury really started. I was 18 then. I had back problems, and my hamstring started giving problems. And as a youngster growing up, 15, people were like, oh, you're gonna be so great, you're gonna be great. It was wonderful for me, I was so happy. And then when you get injured and people start saying the most awful things you've ever heard, that you're never gonna make it again.
No more innocence.
Yeah. Your career is over, you won't make it, you should stop running. They say all these things. It's kind of hard as a young man to deal with that. That's when I met my coach, Ben Mills, and he kind of sat me down and explained to me that that's how life is. It started off good, and people will always be like that. You always have your fans, your directed fans that love you, but you also have those people who always have bad things to say all the time. So he sat me down and explained to me that injury is a part of the game. It's gonna happen all the time, it's gonna happen sometime. So you just gotta work through it. So we sat down and we figured out the problem. What was the problem? And we found out it was scoliosis that I had, and we had to keep it in check. So we figured out what we needed to do really to get that fixed. So we worked on the back exercises and went to my doctor, Miller Wolfart, and they really helped me. And from then on, I kind of pushed on from there.
Yeah, and then you had to work harder maybe sometimes because things went pretty quick, pretty well at the beginning, and then at that time you had to work. But you didn't run hundreds since until 2007. Before that, it was 200 or 400. Why?
Well, I was a bad starter. I'm not that good now, but
Better, much better.
yeah, but I was a bad starter. So in high school, we decided to stop running the 100 meters and stick to 204. And I continued doing it. But when you get to the professional level, the 400 program gets really intense. So
Hard.
yeah, so in 07, I said to my coach, because he was saying, because I was just running 200 meters, and he said I need to do another event to help with 200 meters. So it was either the 100 meters or the 400 meters. And I was like, I don't want to do the 400 meters. And he was like, well, that's what you're best at. So I was like, nah, I think I can run the 100 meters. And he said, okay. I said, let's do a deal. Give me 100 meters this season. If I do well, I run the 100 meters. If I don't do well, I run the 400 meters. I've never been so nervous in the 100 meters ever.
That was the 10:03, not
Yes,
yeah. That was the 10:03
Yeah.
in 2007. That was the perfect time to start this. And then you had to work on the start, as you say. Why? Because you're tall, and tall athletes are not starting well.
Yes, that's what they told me. It would never work because I'm too tall. I probably never run faster than 9'9". That's what they said. But my coach he had other plans for me, so he really just worked on a few things, and I pick up things easily, so it was kind of easy for me to get into it. Still not the best, but average start's good enough for me, so it's okay.
What's important at the start? Is it the reaction time, or are they the first 2-3 steps?
It's definitely a technique. My coach always says, forget the reaction sometimes, because I stress a lot on reaction because I want to get out with the pack. But he says, don't worry about the reaction. It's all about technique, getting that first step and the follow-up steps, as he says, 1, 2, 3, to make sure you get the momentum going. So that's always key.
And you had to do a lot of weightlifting at the time because sprinters needs to have it.
Yeah, after 07, when I ran, me and my coach were actually talking about this last night. After 07, I ran second behind Tyson Gay, and I remember I was putting my all into this. I was running hard, and I went to my coach after the race, and I said to my coach, I gave it everything I had, but I couldn't catch him, and he was like, yeah, because you're weak. I was like, okay, so he said, you gotta really go into the weights room and really work.
Keep working.
Yeah, so I started working and I got stronger and I could last longer.
You think things went easily for you in terms of progression, the way you came to the top? And how did you look at it at that time?
For me, it's always been hard because I've always had to keep my back in check no matter what. If I slack off just a little bit, it starts to bother me somehow, some way, hindering me in doing certain things. So for me, it's always been like, I gotta be very careful exactly what I do. So for me, I've always have to be on top of my game, always.
Yes, this is what you see, what we see in the movie that went out this year, the movie of Gael.
Yeah.
We see that training. I mean, it's hard. Keep working on training. People don't see that sometimes. Some of them. Can you tell us about this shadow part of the training? Something we don't see.
Well, it's very hard. For me, a lot of guys train in the morning. I'm not a morning person, so I'm always training evening.
But you can have heats in the morning sometimes.
Yeah, but then I have to deal with it. But if I don't have to get up, I won't.
Don't you?
Yeah, so I train in the evening, but it's all about the intensity, especially when it comes to background training. We train almost like quarter miles because we got to do that, a lot of work to get the condition. So it's really intense. I always invite people sometimes.
From November to February.
Yeah,
That time.
early January. I'd
Yeah,
say.
early January.
Yeah, then we get on track. But for me, it's hard. I can't explain. It's just rough. That's why I don't do 400 meters because it's harder than the actual sprint program. And if the sprint program is so hard,
already hard.
you can just imagine you have to run the 400 meters.
So that's difficult. And then you had to stick to that and keep working on that. And it worked. In 2008,
Yes.
wonderful year.
That year, I think that was the most focused I've ever been in track and field that year because I was really determined on being a champion that year. So I really pushed myself to limits, sacrificed a lot of things. I went through so much, but it paid off. It all paid off. So it was great. Yeah.
The expectation at home in Jamaica was something that boosted you, was pushing you?
Well, no, it was there because people wanted me to win and everybody wanted me to do well. But the goal that I had for myself drive me even more because I wanted it for myself first. That's all I wanted. After the World Championships that year before, I wanted to win because it was right there the year before, so I wanted to go faster. So for me, I really pushed myself and I sacrificed a lot. I did a lot of stuff.
3 gold medals. The year after Berlin World Championships, another time, 3 gold medals plus world records.
Yeah, for me that was even greater because after the Olympics, I remember a lot of people were saying, Tyson Gay wasn't in the race because Tyson Gay was one of my biggest competitors. So everybody was saying, yeah, you won and you did great, but Tyson Gay wasn't in the race. So I was like, fair enough. I'm not gonna argue he wasn't in the race because he's one of the best. So World Championship, it was there and I still won and I still broke the world record. So that was more satisfying for me than
Yes. And coming at the top is one thing. Staying at the top, maybe it's harder. Can you tell us about this?
Definitely. For me, sometimes you lose focus, especially at top, you lose focus. Like, for me, 010 was, I said that was a kind of an off season for me, but we train out. You always want to win. But I got really lazy in 010. I really took it way too easy, and my coach said he'll never ever do that again.
Yeah, because it brings you down, and yet then you have to work harder.
Exactly.
And then
I got injured. I got a lot of problems because I wasn't really keeping my back in check. So I got injured throughout the season, and then during the season, the injuries came back. So it was rough. And then to start 2011, then that was a major problem for me.
And so you were pushed and you wanted to do good in 2011. That's why you wanted to start before the others on the 100 meters?
Yeah. Well, it was pushed. I really pushed myself. In 2011, it was one of the roughest seasons of my career up to this day for me. I started out well. I started out extremely well in 2011. I was going, and then I had problems throughout the season, which a lot of people don't know because it's one thing my coach hates. is for us to talk about injuries. He doesn't like to tell people, oh, I was injured this time, because he doesn't want people to say, oh, you're just saying that because you're not doing well. So I had a rough patch for like 3 months. I was going through a rough patch. But I worked on, but one thing I've learned with my coach, he knows exactly what to do to really get me in great shape. And I said to him, my coach, it's looking bad. And coach said, no, don't worry, you'll be all right, I promise you. And up to the World Championships, when I was at the camp, I started feeling better, I started coming together. And I went to the championship, and I just anxiety got the better of me, because I was so excited that everything came together at the right time. And I just lost it for a second, and I false started.
And false start.
Yeah.
Then that was the first time ever you've done that. You've never did this before.
No. I said this to my friends already. I was in the blocks, and all I heard in my head was "go," and I just ran. So, and my friend was like, "Really?" But that's what I heard. I can swear I heard something say "go," and I just ran. It was one of those things.
Switch off this voice for the next one. Then 200. Then you come back with a gold medal plus the 4x1. But this was something that was still there. The deception of. You were disappointed.
Yeah, I was disappointed, but I think I've been in my coach long enough that he has taught me a lot of things. He says you gotta just put things behind you. Yes, it happened. Yes, I'm very sad. Yes, I'm disappointed, but you got more races to go, so you gotta put that behind you and move on. So that's what I did. I really just moved on. Me and my coach, we never discussed this fall start until after the World Championship. He never said anything to me.
Nothing during the World Championships. When did he started to talk about it?
He waited after the World Championships. He came to me and he said, "What happened?" I was like, and we just sat and talked about it. So,
and this is very important. As you said we want to keep this when there is an injury or something wrong inside the group like this. He can deal it, and it's easy. If not, it takes proportions which it's difficult after to handle.
I think more people focus on injuries. Like, if you tell somebody you're injured, then they're constantly going to be asking you, "Are you okay?" or "You this?" They're going to be pushing. And some people might just say, "Oh, it's just because you're beaten or stuff." So we just try to keep it out of the way and do what we have to do.
Yes, that's important. So then comes, after the season 2011, then comes the winter. Then you have to work, and that was maybe one of the worst time, huh?
It was this season, because last season was the perfect season. We had to do more work than last season, so it was even worse than the season before. So this season was really bad. It was really bad.
When you remember every training, one after the other.
You know what's the most upsetting thing sometimes? When somebody comes up to you and tell you you're not training enough. That hurts me the most, because it's so hard. When you sweat, you vomit, you lay on the track for hours trying to recover, and your friends are just laughing at you, which is natural, but it's so hard when you go through all these things for somebody to look at you and say, "You're not training hard enough." So for me, that's one of the hardest things to hear somebody say, but I work hard and I always push myself, because I know what it takes to be a champion, so I always try to push myself to the limit and try to do even more.
Push yourself all the time. And then maybe at the beginning of the season, let's say around May, when Kingston's meet is, maybe you're not ready.
No, I wasn't perfect. As I said, in life, sometimes you feel you're on the right track, but it takes something has to happen to let you see that you're not on the right track. And at my trials, that's what happened, really.
That's what happened afterwards. After that time, because you felt something around that time when you started the season competition, May, and then it felt something. It was not bad, but enough to stop you from training.
Well, yeah, it's as I said, we try not to talk about stuff when it comes to injuries during the season, because we don't want people to focus on that. So I had problems throughout the seasons, but we have to work through that, because my coach knows exactly what to do to get me there. And I have one of the greatest doctors in the world, Mother Wolf, which helps me out. So we worked on it and we got together slowly but surely.
Slowly, that's very important because, as you said, in the meantime, you had to do the Jamaican trials.
Yeah.
And then you got beaten for the first time. This is something, even if it's from a partner who's training with you, young Blake, it's something maybe sometimes hard not to handle at that time when you're in training, but in competition.
No, for me, it wasn't really. Over the years, I've got beaten a couple of times. Like Safa beat me once, Tyson beat me once, so you one got me now. So for me, you can't win every race of your career. And for me, I'm happy that happened. As I said, sometimes you feel you're on the right path because I felt I was getting there, 100% smooth.
Yeah.
I was feeling better. And then when it happened, it kind of opened my eyes to say, you say you need to really open your eyes because this is much more serious than I think it is. And I kind of just really start looking now, and then I start working even harder, start pushing myself harder, start doing everything else, and just focus strictly on just track and field.
This bell ringing by this defeat was a good thing?
Yes, definitely. It was. As I said, I said to him, I don't think he understands. When I said to him, I told him thanks. He's like, yo.
To Johan?
Yeah, I needed that. Because I said, I feel I was on a great path. I was like, I'm feeling great, I'm happy, yeah. Then like, wow, what has happened? So for me, that was very, very good for me. Because now I sat back and I looked. And I said to coach, he's like, you'll be all right.
We're in between friends here. Can you tell us what was the discussion in between you, the coach, and Johan the week after the Jamaican trials?
There wasn't really a discussion, man. I know what I had to do. Johan know what he had to do, and that was pretty much it. We just trained as always, but now I know I have to step up and really push myself a little bit more. So.
And no one was talking about it in training.
But Jamaica, it was a buzz all over the world. But throughout the camp, it was just straight as normal. It was just back to normal.
Glenn Mills, the coach, was protecting the group?
No, we talked about it anytime we went out, but I didn't race again after that. I canceled my one race I had to do because I had to focus on training. Mm-hmm. So it was all about just training then. Johan ran again and they asked him a few questions about it, but pretty much I was just all about training.
This is a strength also, not to be too much touched, even if you were sometimes, by what's is being said around, by the newspapers, by maybe sometimes even some people you thought they were friends?
No, for me, I've learned over the years. I think what made me so strong mentally and physically is the fact that I've been through everything when I was really, really young. I came on the scene, I was happy, and then I went through this dramatic change when everybody turned on me. So after that, there was no surprise when they do it again because I've been there. So I've always tried to explain to all the younger athletes coming up that, listen, yes, they're your friends, but be very careful because if one day you lose, you might not be happy with the things they said. So I kind of put the younger ones on their guards from early because I know they're still going to be hard for them, but at least I told them, so they kind of expected to come. So.
That's why I wanted you to talk about these 18, 19, 20 years old when it happened. It helped for them.
Definitely, without doubt, it helped me a lot because now when they talk, I just laugh really because I know what I can do. So when they say, oh, he's not going to make it, oh, he's going to lose at the Olympics, all I do is smile. As long as my coach is not worried, I'm not worried.
But you're a positive person too. I mean, if you would have been negative, maybe it would have more effect, and maybe you wouldn't have worked the same way.
Yeah, you gotta be positive. I give a lot of credit to my coach without a doubt because he has taught me so much, so much throughout my career, in life and everything. He has taught me a lot. I've learned so much from him, and he has taught me from the beginning one of the most important things, you can't win every race, and you gotta learn how to lose to win. And for me, that was one of the most important lessons I've ever learned. So it really has helped me throughout my career.
You had to work, let's go precisely, because they have a high-level program here, you know, and they're working on this. You had to work a lot on this part of the body to make it stronger.
Core work, yeah.
Yes.
It's very important, especially my back. That's what keeps you going. I think if your back is weak, your hamstrings are going to go without a doubt. And you can't have a strong back and a weak abdominal. So for me, you have to make sure your core is strong, because as long as your core is strong, it's good. Especially with sprinters, it keeps your knee up and your stride length longer. So for me, it helps. And because I'm tall, it's even better.
It's even better, and you need that, of course.
I definitely need that. That's the best part of my race. So I got to make sure that everything is together.
He's working.
Yes, exactly.
Then you come to the games, and then there is a lot of things. But these games are special. I mean, the atmosphere. Just let's talk about the atmosphere. How did you felt coming in that stadium? It was full from 9 o'clock in the morning to 11 at night.
Yeah. From I walked into the camp, into the village, I got that chill. I was happy. I got that chill of the championship. So I was like, yes, I'm here. And it felt good for me. And when I walked into the stadium at 9 o'clock, that early, and you see everybody, stadium is full, and I'm like,
80,000 people.
What's really going on? Because I'm not used to this. Normally, you get in the stadium in the morning, it's like a few people who really love track and field.
Some others are sleeping.
Yeah, like not morning persons like me. So it was surprising that everybody was out. So I was like, wow. And then the energy that they had at that hour in the morning, it was wonderful. I was wondering what was going on because I went to sleep then. So for me, it was weird, but it was good though. It was good for the athletes because they got a lot of support. So it was.
And you
wow.
received a warm welcome. I mean, just like it was incredible, no?
Yeah, definitely. For me, the crowd is one of the most important things, really.
You like to?
I love a great crowd. If they're full of energy, it's wonderful for me because it makes you feel good to go out there because I like to interact with the crowd and I like to perform for them. So for me, it's good and it helps me to relax also.
Let's talk about this because this is very important. Some athletes are feeling the pressure. You do too, but you have something to avoid it.
Yeah, just think about random stuff. Like for me, majority of the times I just try to think about what I'm going to do after this race. So I keep my mind off the race and then I think about the stuff that I want to do. So I don't know, video games,
Something you
go out for dinner or something, just random.
Yeah.
Keeps my mind off and then I can play with the crowd, helps me. And then you have less time to think about the race because if you think about the race too much, then the stress begins. Because especially in the finals, they're going to be everybody who's on top of their game right beside you. So you start thinking about this person, that person, you're going to lose it.
Yeah.
That's not the way to go.
And that's important. John, you wanted to say something?
Well, I just wondered, Usain, whether this was something you had to learn, or this was the way you just naturally have always been with when you steal the crowd, it doesn't give you anxiety, it gives you energy and pleasure.
I've learned in 02 in Jamaica, I remember I came out and there was this, Anisha McLaughlin went before me to run the 200 meters and she went out before me. I was coming through the tunnel and the crowd just went loud and I ran down to the gate to look if Anisha was running, but they actually saw me coming out and after that moment, my legs just went pretty much numb. I was so nervous now. I was nervous, I was there, I was sitting down and I was supposed to put my spikes on and go stride out. And I put the wrong foot of spikes on I put on the wrong foot of spikes on my wrong feet. And for me, I was so nervous, I couldn't even stride out. I couldn't do it, I was just sitting there shaking. I was so nervous because I could feel that pressure. And after I won in front of Jamaica, I said to myself, why should I worry about running in front of strangers? So that's what I said to myself. I can compete in front of Jamaicans and win. Now why should I worry about competing in front of strangers?
Yes,
so
exactly.
that's what I work with. And then I've learned how to just relax and to enjoy myself at the start line.
To make it positive for you, and that helps. So then you got the first race. The first race was very, very important, even if it seems to be an easy race.
Yeah. Well, it's always just to get it out of the way, to feel how you feel, stretch your legs. But I think it's key. The semifinals for me was key.
I know.
Yeah.
That's the most important one. Why? Because you were running freely, Was it in your mind still, the injuries somewhere?
No.
No, not
I
anymore.
just wanted to feel, because I knew I had to push myself at least to 50 meters. So I started, ran, got my technique together, I ran out 50 meters, I felt smooth. I was like, I'm gonna win this race. So
Yes.
I was confident. From the semifinals, I was confident I would win.
I can tell you too. I was confident at that time too. Well, we all saw the same thing, but that's important. You say something. You said smooth because you need to be intense for sure, but relax at the same time. If not,
It goes.
Yeah.
You're gonna lose for sure. When I got out there and I ran and I came out my blocks and I looked across and I see I was in front and I was just taking it easy going through, but I had to try to keep my form not to look raggedy. So I went through that, and in the finals I was like, I'll be all right.
you'll be all right.
Yeah.
You'll be all right. So, and you went all right. And then the coach is saying one thing. With your size, the fact that you have long stride, these strides, he's trying to reduce them in training, also reduce them. Why?
He says he wants my cadence to go up like quicker instead of using longer strides. Sometimes I have a tendency when I hit top speed, I kind of overstride and it slows me down. So he's saying I need to pick up my cadence a little bit, so I had to cut my strides just a little bit, not much though.
Yeah, not much, but you feel the difference.
Yeah, you can
Sometimes
tell.
when,
You can feel the push, the speed coming together. With
and
the
when you do it
cadence.
wrong, you know.
You can tell, yeah.
He tells you. He tells you afterwards. Is it different in the 100 than in the 200?
Well, the 200 is much different. It's much more technical than actually the 100 meters, I think, because when you're running the corner, you got to know exactly where the lane you should be. Because when you start, you want to be in the center majority of the time. And you can't run too close to the line because they have new rules that you step on the line once.
Disqualification.
So that's kind of hard. So you got to stay in the middle of the lane. But for me, you got to it's almost like swinging in. You go wide when you catch to the middle of the corner. You run wide, then as soon as you're coming up to the apex, you kind of just come in, because if you run wide, then it swings you out.
Exactly. The force brings you out.
Yeah, you'll end up in lane 8, 9.
You're allowed to, but it's not good for you. Yeah.
So you don't want that. So for me, it's technical. You can't lean solid. You gotta lean forward. There's so many different things. That's why my favorite event, because I put so much work into this. And then when you get into the straight and you run it, you gotta hit top speed quicker than the 100 meters. So when you hit top speed now, it's all about keeping your stride, not leaning back, not bringing your shoulders up. So many different things, because then your legs start hurting and you start to get slower.
Yes.
Then sometimes you want to try to push yourself to go faster, but you can't. So you gotta.
You bring more acid, lactic acid, quicker, and it hurts.
Does anybody know what lactic acid is? Have you ever felt lactic acid?
The first
You don't want to feel it.
The first 400 meters of the season is the worst, because the last 100 meters you feel it, and it's impossible to sit, impossible to stand,
To lay down.
to lay down.
You don't know what to
Everything
do. It's
hurts.
frustrating.
Everything hurts.
Sorry.
Should try one day. That's not easy. Well, let's go back to the 100, first final. Then you know you put a great semi-final. Everybody knows that. They saw it. What's happening then?
For me, I was confident. I was confident. I remember we're in the car room and I'm there, and we're warming up, and my teammate Johan Blake, he's just sitting like this. I'm like, let's go. He's like, no, I need to rest. I was like, rest? Why do you need to rest? I gotta save my legs for the race. I was like, yo, you need to warm up. But he was so nervous. He didn't want to stride out because he feels if he runs, he's gonna get tired. And I was like, yo, you need to do some strides. The coach says we should do some strides, let's go. And he's sitting there like, no. I was like, let's go. So I finally get him to do one stride, and he did one and walk back in. I was like, this is not good. So I was trying to help him out to relax, but I think you learn these things after a while, but this is really intense, and I think a lot of people put pressure on you. You might have friends, you might have family that want you doing so bad, and you want to do them proud. So sometimes you should just want to do it for yourself and just relax and go out and just do your best.
And-
That's always the key.
And share afterwards with the others.
Yes,
With your,
that's always key. So,
family, yeah.
but one thing helped me. My coach said to me, is that he's saying, listen to me. Forget this start. Stop thinking about this start because you're really stressing me out now. So stop talking about you want a good start. Forget it. You're not a good starter. Get over it. So I was like, all right. So I went out there on my mind just to react, pretty much, just to react. And technique-wise, that's what he says. You know, the last 50 meters of your race is the best part of your race. Concentrate on getting out of your dry phase, accelerate it, and get into top speed. So when you hit 50 meters, you're in your running motion, and you'll be all right. So
And work.
yeah, exactly,
It worked.
perfectly.
What was with the American? Did you talk to them? They talked to you before that race?
No, there's no talking with the Americans. there's no talking. Well, we know Tyson, so all they get is like good luck, just to be a good sportsman.
Okay.
That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. But where this thing happened to me when I was running 100 meters, so I go out there. Everybody's thinking world record. Everybody wants me to run fast. I go out there and I hit 50 meter. I start going past the field. I look across and I was like, I'm gonna win this race. And I was smiling, and then something hit me in my head, and I was like, world record. And I looked up at the clock, and I started dipping too early, and my coach was like, amateur.
You see? Something
It was because I started leaning too early,
Right.
because I didn't remember that I was just running to win the race. So when I saw that I was going to win, it came to me that you can break this world record. So I started looking at the clock, but for me, I was like, yeah, I can do it. Just lead. And I was leading from like 8 meters. I was like, ah.
And then you slow down.
Yeah, because I'll probably run a little bit faster if I did start leading.
Without
so,
leading.
Yeah.
That will be for the next. That will be for the next race.
Coach called me an amateur.
That's it. Then you had it, and which is I think something that pleases you. What's the feeling on the podium?
For me, it was great. It was great. That was the first step. That was the first step. I was happy with myself. I was really proud of myself because I did well. And the main thing, for me, my emotions never come fully until I sit down and I think about everything that happened, everything I go through. So for me, it was just all joy.
Yeah.
I was just happy that I did it because I've been through so much and I've heard people talk. And one of the things I've always wanted to do when people talk is to shut people up.
Shut them up.
Yes.
That's important. Then you have the 200. In between the 100 and the 200, did you have your mom on the phone?
No, they came to see me.
Yeah, I know,
Yes.
but did you see her?
Yeah, I saw her. She came to see me after the 100 meters.
Oh, you saw her, you talked to
Yeah,
her?
we sat and we talked and we laughed and we talked about stuff. They were really happy. Everybody was happy. And my dad looked at me and said, I want mine. I was like, what? It's like 200 meters mine.
It's for me.
The 100 is your mom, 200 is mine. Like, okay, sir. So it was good. So they gave me motivation. They were happy. They said, we're not worried anymore. So,
Yeah, they did. And they're very, very happy behind you, I mean, of what you did. I mean, I know that your parents were worried last year at the World Championships. Huh?
It was bad. My mom, I think there's a video on YouTube. My mom lost it for a minute when I first started. She lost it. But it was, I understand. She's emotional. She's never usually emotional. My dad is the emotional one.
More.
Yeah, he's more emotional.
More
My mom,
emotional.
he worries so much. My mom is cool. I
That's
think that's where I get it from.
Yeah, all
I'm
right.
always cool. My dad is...
Same character.
It's a split. I sat down, I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, people were asking me like, why I'm so cool, but I never really thought about it initially. But my dad is a hard worker. He works hard, he pushes himself, he always wants to provide for us. He works really hard. So that's where I get that from, to work hard.
To work hard.
Then my mom, she's lazy. That's the truth. I know if she sees the
Equality
interview,
sometimes.
yeah, if she sees this, she's gonna cuss me, but she's lazy. But she works, but she's lazy. But she's always cool. She's always
Positive.
relaxed. Her
But, yeah.
emotions, she doesn't really stress that much. And And that's where I get that from. So the combination comes together great. So it works.
Change
Well,
nothing.
I know when to be lazy, when to work hard, when to be cool. So it's a great combination.
It's a great combination. Then you bring the gift to your father, the 200, and it's a great race.
Yeah, it was a
Because
good race.
Johan is fast.
Yeah, without a doubt. Hands down, he's fast and he works hard and he pushes himself. He pushes me. I don't know, sometimes I gotta say, just tone down a little bit.
Yeah.
Because in training, he's trying to just run hard. I'm like, we don't have to run this hard. Just relax. Sometimes I'm like, I'm not training you today, man. Like when we got hard programs, I try not to train with him.
Yeah.
Because he pushes himself so hard, I'm like, I'm not in the mood right now.
You're not getting into that. Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes, of course, we're competitors, but sometimes we get into it in training. Like especially when it comes to sprinting, we go against each other. Just for fun, just to work. We get laughs out of it. We do, and we make jokes at each other. So it's always fun.
And you gave him a gift on the 4x1. But the whole team was incredible. I mean, with that world record.
Yeah, we knew we could do it because everybody's faster this season. Especially Johan, he's really stepped up his game. I was better, and Michael Freita and Nestor Carter, these guys are veterans. They have done this before, so we've been through this. And it was the same side that ran last year. We broke the world record, and I did it again. So it was great.
It was incredible. I mean, all of them did something wonderful. I saw the slow-mo of Tyson Gay and Johan like in the curve was incredible. Huh?
Yeah, for me, people were saying, oh, that's going to be the problem, but I was like, nah. Johan has really improved over 200 meters. He's really learned a lot to run the turn, so I wasn't really worried. And he really showed up and showed that he's a better corner runner. And I think Tyson, he wasn't the fittest, he wasn't in 100%, but he definitely hadn't run any turns all year. So for me, that was one of the things. And I said to Tyson after the 4x1s when he was passing me, telling me congratulations, I said, I'm looking forward to next season.
You'll be stronger.
Yeah, I hope you're well, hope you're ready. Because for me, I like to compete against the best when they are their best, so I'm looking forward to it.
This is important. John?
Well, Glenn Mills, your coach, is the coach of all three of you. Does he have very different styles with the three of you because you have different needs, or he has a one approach that works
With
well?
Johan Blake and Ware, who was third in the 200 also.
Me and Johan, we train similar because I think we're kind of similar athletes, but Ware is a little bit different. He's young, he's kind of raw talent, so coach always gives him
Still innocent.
attention. Yeah.
Still innocent.
So he gets a little bit more attention because his technique is really bad.
1994.
Yeah.
Not bad.
He's working on really getting him together and getting more confidence and stuff. So me and Blake, but Ware trains a little bit different from us.
And you do train that. Some former sprinters said, I mean, you're a great athlete when you achieve a great career. You've heard that by Carl Lewis. It was the way he said it was not really positive.
For me, it's the weirdest thing. After the comment, I was wondering, but I've heard so much after that. I'm not even going to talk about what Carl Lewis said because I've heard so much about him because I knew about him, but I didn't know the history behind all of this. So I've heard so much, and I've heard all the athletes that have ran with him, discredited him, all this. So I don't even want to talk about Carl Lewis.
You're right. But I mean, your career, you're building your career. So that means you're still young. In 4 years, you'll have just 4 years more than that, and then there will be Olympic Games in Rio.
Yeah. Well, for me, there's a lot of things in between.
Of course.
It's going to happen. So for me, we're not sure what we're going to do next season. We're going to have a meeting with my coach. We're going to sit and discuss.
Remember 2010, no?
No, we're not going to relax.
No, you're not going to relax.
We're going to have a meeting. We're going to talk about what should we do next, if we should continue with 100, 200 and try to just go faster, break some records, or maybe try long jump, do something else, or, well, he's leaning to me to run the 400 meters, and I'm leaning away. So I think it's going to be a really interested meeting. So, and he's a very clever and very smart young man. We call him the guru. So
I know.
I'm worried that he might outsmart me. So we'll see though.
We'll see that. It will be very interesting. Well, a lot of people will say that. They say that to you lots of time. Even if you've been running the 400, you know how it takes to make a good 400 meter runner. World Championship in Moscow, and then after there will be another World Championship 3 years after, and then
Where would that be though? I don't know. Nobody knows.
the year after
Moscow and then.
Moscow, and then we go to Beijing. Yeah.
Oh, nice place. Yeah.
That's interesting. That's interesting. So thank you very much. I will open to the questions. If you want to ask a few questions, we have microphone. Just name yourself, please, and we will take this gentleman afterwards here. Yeah, please.
Hi there, Usain. I just had a question. What did you do with the baton?
Yeah. Tell the story of the baton, because not everyone maybe didn't see that.
I just don't know what happened to it.
What happened
Well,
exactly?
I have the baton now, but
You have it, but it was not.
after the race, I said I'm gonna keep this baton because I know we're gonna break the world record, and for me, it's a great moment. And I said, you know what, I'm gonna keep it. Let all the guys sign it, put the world record on it, and then like I have my 100 meters suit, so I'm gonna just put it below it and just keep it in a glass case. But after the race, I messed with the girl. I was gonna give it to her and I put it back. So while I was celebrating, I think it was the referee, or I'm not sure.
Yeah, the official.
He came to me, I was like, we need the baton. So I was like, hold on, I want to keep it. And he was like, no, you can't keep it. So I was like, why? He was like, we're going to use it again. So I was like, use it again? This is the last race of the Olympics. What are you going to do? And he was like, no, we need to give it to me. I was like, just calm down for me. Listen to what I have to say. I really want this baton because it means a lot. And he was like, no, you can't keep it. If you try to keep it, you're going to disqualify. I was like, whoa. Here you go. I gave it back to him, but I guess people saw it and some people probably complained a little bit. So they
I heard that it went up very high.
I don't know.
That's what I heard. The newspapers in England said that Mr. Cameron had to
And
say
somebody called
something.
him from upstairs. That's good.
That's what happened. Next
What
question.
happened?
Yes, please. Sorry. You have
Usain, hello. We are very much interested about leadership here at IMD, and particularly about high-performance leadership. So my question to you is, what motivates you? What motivates you to work so hard? And what motivates you when you lose? Well, what is the driver?
Well, there's a lot of things. I have a lot of people around me that helps me to stay focused. And for me, in life, you have to set yourself goals. And my goal was always to become one of the greatest athletes ever to be in the sport. So I was really focused on what I wanted. But it's always key to have supporting people around you because sometimes you're always going to lose sight sometimes of what you want. And to have great people around you, my coach, my best friend which is here, my agent, my whole team that pushes me. When I lose focus, they say, yo, remember this is what we're working towards. And they keep you on track. So for me, it's good because I'm focused and I'm always working hard, but you're always going to lose sight. So supporting team is very important also.
Yes. One question here.
Hi there. My name is David. Thank you very much for this evening. Speaking of what you're going to do later on in your career, I'm wondering if you're familiar with the film Cool Runnings and if you would ever have considered it. I know it's cliche, but I wanted to ask if you would consider doing a real Jamaican bobsled team.
Well, everybody who knows me knows I hate the cold, so that's never gonna happen. No.
And there are 15 degrees, it's hard.
Yeah.
Yes, one more question. Here, down there too, and then we have one lady, and over there. Yes, please. Go on.
Okay, my name is Javier Tamirano from ASTS. Thank you, Usain. So Sir Alex Ferguson hired Van Persie. Where does that leave you?
Well, Nanny's not looking so good, so I think I may take his job. I don't know.
You never know. One over there, and then we have one lady here, and then, please, yes.
Hi, my name is Vedant. I'm from India. So my question is, you take on every Olympics, and that's the kind of targets you set for yourself. When do you, as an athlete, wipe the slate clean? Like now, I go back to the basics, start all over again, ground up. How often?
No, well, you gotta get to your goal first, and I did it this season, so now it's clean. Now I gotta figure out what I want to do, what else can make me great. So that's what we're working on now. So my slate is clean right now, so it's like I'm starting from scratch. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, please.
Hi, you've told us about how hard you train, how you're throwing up on the field and all that. Can you tell us what your typical day is like? When do you wake up? What exactly do you do to train? How many hours do you train? What do you eat? How many calories do you consume in a day? What kind of stuff do you eat? Do you go for the grease, or are you really careful about it?
Well, I get up at 10. Yeah, I told you I'm not a morning person. The only reason gym can't be too close to training time. If I could get up at 12, that would be great. But I can't. But I get up at 10. Normally, I just have fruits first. I don't eat before I go to the gym. So I have fruits, and then go work out for pretty much an hour. We do weights and core workout in the gym. Then I come home. I'll have something to eat. We call it breakfast, but it's actually lunch. So depends on what's on the menu. We have mostly food like yam, banana, dumpling. I don't know what meat, just random meat, pork, chicken, beans, anything there is. So it's different days, there are different things. Then I'll chill out. Most likely I'll try to go back to sleep. I'm lazy, I know it. Then I train at 4.
That's part of the recovery too. Even if you
most people don't sleep. They stay up throughout the day and then go to train.
Yeah.
But if I have nothing to do, I just go right back to sleep.
And you can sleep during the massage sometimes also. When
No, I don't want to fall asleep. It's not a good look to fall asleep while I get a massage. So I go to train at 4. We do warm up. We get a program. It's like probably mostly in the background season, which is from November, from like mid-October to January. We train longer than usual. Like we probably go like 3.5 hours maybe, because it's more running. Then it cuts down to about between 2.5 to 3 hours in between when it comes to like track workouts. And then I'll go home, have dinner. Depends on what's on the menu. Then I'll just pretty much chill out, play video games, watch TV, chill with my friends, play dominoes. And maybe I go to bed late, like 1, 2 o'clock, so I'll probably get some snacking during that, some Oreos and milk and stuff like that. I work it off, so it's not to work it off.
Yes, please. And then we have the lady, please.
Good evening, I'm Antoine. It seems to be important for you to be a sport legend, so I just would like to know why.
Well, in your line of work, what do you do?
Me?
Yeah, what do you do?
I'm working at the International Automobile Federation as a project manager.
Yeah, and you want to be the best you can be. You want to always people to remember you. You want people to know who you are. You want the best, because when they call, you want them to ask for your name specifically. So that's how we look at it in our sports. We want to be the best. So at the end of the day, they can say, all right, Usain was one of the greatest athletes. When they talk about track and field, the first thing I want them to say is that Usain Bolt. So that's how I look at it. That's what I work towards, to be the best.
Ça marche plus? Okay. But you can just be different. You don't need to be the best to be different, and if you be different, it's a good thing too.
You're gonna be different. Everybody's different. Like, everybody's track and field, because some athletes are serious. Back in the days, every athlete were serious, so everybody was like, yeah, they're serious. But I've changed the game a little bit. So I've really done many things that I've changed the game that made it different already. So I'm slightly different also. But the fact is, people are gonna say, yeah, he was different, but I want him to say he was the greatest. That's what I want. I don't want people to just say I was different. I want him to say he was the best at his sport. He was the best at what he did. He was different, and it was fun to watch. So for me, that's what I really want.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Please.
Hi, my name is Mandarina. When all this is over, the games, the competitions, the championships, let's say in 10 years' time, what would you want to be doing in that time?
Well, for me, professional thing to say would be to have a business and stuff. And to be, I'm just gonna give you two answers. The professional answer would be to have a business and to work hard, to look forward.
That's one.
But for me, all I want to do right after this is just put my foot up and just play video games all day.
Yes, sir. One more. We take 2-3 more questions, and then yes, here and then here.
François de Zadwitz. We having achieved so much now, will you have any problems keeping motivated the next 4 years? And another sub question is, would a race against David Rudisha, 400 meters, motivate you?
But for me, there's always more things to motivate you because I haven't done everything in track and field. There's so many different events in track and field that you can do, and you can always aim to go faster because there's always that possibility that you could tweak a few things, do a few things differently. So there's so much different things that you can do. I can always try to challenge myself. I don't want to say this, but challenge myself and run the 400 meters. But there's so many different things that I can do to motivate myself the next season. That's why we're going to have this meeting with my coach at the end of the season to see what I really want to do. Race with Rudisha now, I don't want to run the 400 meters, so I don't know. No to that question.
No, the specialists will say that 400 will still be for Usain compared to Rudisha. 500, then Rudisha is coming back, and 600 he will be ahead. So these are what the specialists will say. Yes, one here, and then we have another one over there.
Hello, my name is Katja Griekjes. I'm with the Sport Accord. And I would like to know, you were talking about the voice here. Oh, very small, yeah.
No, you seated.
Sorry. You were talking about the voice that you hear inside your head that made you do a false start. I was wondering what that voice tells you right before, when you're preparing, when you hear the sign, and then while you're running during that 9.63 seconds.
For me, I think it was more anxiety than anything else. Throughout the season, I was always focusing on the start because it was really poor in 2011. It was really bad for me, so I was always focusing on the start. And at the World Championships, it came together. The first round was brilliant. Second round was brilliant. So the anxiety, I wanted to run because I felt so ready. I was like, yeah, I can do this now. So I was in the blocks and I wasn't myself. I wasn't the Usain Bolt everybody know. I didn't really mess around with the crowd. I was just really serious and I was trying to focus, and that wasn't me. So I put a lot more stress on myself than usual. So I think that's the real reason I really just panicked and I ran out. That's why I heard the voice, because I wasn't really that focused. So this season now, I was much more relaxed, much more just being myself, focus on the race, and I knew what I needed to do, and I wasn't worried about the start because I've already talked to my coach and he says, just forget the start, just go up there, react to the gun, and just execute right, so that's key.
Yes. The orange microphone, please.
So, but during the race, do you have, I'm sure you have a voice in your head, or do you just go blank and see finish line, or do you just go like win, win, win? What do you think about?
For me, the focus, my main focus is always the first 50 meters. That's always blank for me. It's always just focus on just getting my technique right, because that's the most important part of my race. When I get into running mode now, it's much easier to look around and see because I'm at top speed and I'm running. So it's easier that way. Then depends on what race I'm in. If I'm in a championship race, I'm much more focused on making sure I'm in front of the guys. If it's just a normal race, I'll just think about how fast I want to go, or if I keep watching the clock. So different things.
Yes, one question over there, lady, and then the gentleman.
Hi, Usain. My name is Coralie, and you've mentioned that there's a lot of people that are helping you keeping your focus for your race and for your career. Are those the same people that were there at the beginning of your career? Then the same people that are here today when you're on top of your career and everything is going well? Because you've mentioned doctors, you've mentioned a lot your coach. So are these the same people, basically?
Yeah, definitely. My friend Eugene Walker is right there. We've been friends for like 23 years. My agent Ricky Sims, we've been together for like nine years now. From when I was a professional athlete, he's been my agent, so he's been through all the ups and downs with me. When Wolfart, from the first time I got injured, that was where I went. Puma, they've been with me since even earlier, since I was like 16. Mr. Mills came just 1 year after I became professional. We've been together for 7 years now. So people that have been around me has been there from the beginning, and they know the struggles and what I've been working towards. So that's why it's easier, because they know exactly what I want.
And it's part of your personality also to keep these people with you.
Yeah, because they're fun. And I can laugh. Like, me and Ricky, we make jokes all the time with each other.
Ricky seems his agent.
We know each other, so you can stand up.
Stand up. Ricky, good work. Good work.
My best friend is on his phone right now. He's kind of shy. We're cool. We can say anything to each other. We know almost everything about each other. So for me, it's good because we can laugh about anything. And for me, we can sit here and he can do something, and I can just bust out laughing because I know what he's trying to say. So for me, it's always fun to be around these guys. It's good to have a team like that, which you come up through everything and know each other that well, and they know what you like, what you won't like. Like, he can do like 1 million interviews for me. He can never tell that I'm not the one that did it. It's not saying anything, but when he does like really interviews sometimes for me, because there's a lot. You can't tell it's me or not, because he's at every one of my press conference, so he knows exactly what I'm going to say. That's how long we've been.
Is it surprising today? No. Yeah, sometimes, huh?
I know everything's going to say.
you know the words.
Seriously.
You know the words. Monsieur Picard, bonjour.
Good evening. I was wondering if you were planning to use some of your fame and some of your time for something useful for mankind, like humanitarian work, protection of the environment, political action, or something like that, because you could be a great leverage.
Well, I've done a few different things my time. I mainly work in Jamaica though. I haven't gotten any real, anybody asked me. I did one thing with Mrs. Zykes, the Zykes Foundation, about awareness about global warming and stuff. I think it was 2 seasons back. So if I get asked and I have the time, I'll definitely do it, because for me, the hardest thing for me is my time, because we train and it's hard to just stop training and move on. So I think most of these things will come after my career. I think because I'll have a lot of time on my hand to travel from here to there, to go all around the world. But if I'm in a place and I can help in any way, I always try to do my best.
Thank you. The last question, yes, please.
Hi, Usain, I'm Fabrice. A couple of questions. The first one, a few years ago, I saw you mixing on the little stage of close by the lake. Would you consider, as the question was asked before, would you consider being a DJ maybe in 10 years from now, when you retire? First question, and maybe more seriously, what makes the Jamaican running school so strong today?
Well, I love music. Music is a part of me everywhere I go. DJing is fun. It's technical, and if you don't get practicing, just like track and field, you're gonna really suck at it. So for me, I've done a lot of practicing. My last laptop crashed. I lost all my music, so I'm just backing up music now. But I always enjoy trying to DJ. I always try to do it. I'm not the best at it, but I love trying. I have my DJ set at home. When I'm at home, I try to practice sometimes. So I don't think I'll do it professionally, but it's something that I enjoy doing in my spare time. And if I go to a club and I know the DJ, I'll ask him for 5 minutes and I'll try. So that's what I do. And Jamaican athletes, this question is one of the most asked questions I think nowadays for me. But there's this thing called Boys and Girls Championship in Jamaica. I think that's where it all starts. And
end of March. The finals are end of March, beginning of April.
Yeah.
This is where it starts.
This is where it starts. Where I think every athlete out of Jamaica right now has been to the Boys and Girls Championship. That's where we see all the talent because all the schools come together to compete. It's like a world championship or Olympic Games. They come to compete every year. And that's where we see all this talent coming out because it's from all corners of Jamaica. The country, deep rural area, Kingston, all these guys come together to see who's the best. And I think a lot of times athletes may win, but some of the times the guy that is 4th, 5th, and I've learned this from my coach, like 4th and 5th, stuff like that, were better athletes because technical-wise, a lot of them from the country doesn't have the greatest coach, so technical-wise, they're not technically sound. So with a lot more work, they'll get better. So for me, that's where all this talent comes from. That's why it comes out so quickly now because people are really taking note because we're doing so much better. More athletes want to run, more people want to run, so talent is going to be coming out quickly. And there's going to be a lot more coming out, so watch out.
Watch out. Thank you, Usain. Thank you very much for this time sharing with us here. John, I will leave you now because you will have to make a big summary.
But first,
with the microphone.
But first, Usain, I think we want to thank you with the traditional round of applause. I think maybe there's another, you're very used to applause. Maybe there's another way that we can thank you as well, since it was your birthday yesterday.
A car.
We, not a car.
So like you were asking.
You're too relaxed and too honest. In fact, not only is it worse than a car, but now I've heard about how much you love music. It's even though it's your worst nightmare, because maybe we could sing you a song to celebrate your birthday yesterday.
Okay? Trying to embarrass me now.
You don't